In this video we take a closer look at two things. First of all, we will build an AI agent with Flowise. For everybody that knows me from other courses, they probably know that I like Flowise. Flowise is super easy to use and you can make AI agents really fast. And that's basically the biggest benefit of Flowise. But Flowise has also a little bit of downsides. In Flowise it's harder to do like send mails and call a lot of other tools. But we also have a tool that is called the custom tool. And with this custom tool we can call webhooks. And that's why we will cover two things in this video. So first of all, how we can create an AI agent with Flowise, and second, how to use webhooks in n8n. I think after this video you understand how you can connect every tool with n8n, how you can connect every webhook with n8n, and we will have a lot of fun. So basically the first thing that you can do is to go on Flowise. If you want more information about Flowise, I have a whole course on it. Basically it also runs in Node.js. You can install it. It's open source, you can find it on GitHub, you will find the whole installation here, it's really easy to do. You can install it in Node.js with these commands, or you can also host it in Render, just like I did right here. So basically this thing is hosted on Render. Then we can come to agent flows and we press add new, and then we are in this canvas. And in this canvas we can make agents and it's extremely easy. We just want to start with a really easy agent. We use a supervisor, we can simply drag and drop this thing in here, and we use, let's just say, two workers. So basically here are LLMs that are communicating with each other. I can duplicate this thing. Now I can connect my supervisor with this worker. Boom, there we are. It's really that easy. And every time you see these red stars, you need to connect something. We need a tool calling chat model. We just use a chat model, so we press on chat models and we use once again OpenAI, because I think these OpenAI things, they work relatively good. So let's just use chat OpenAI. And we can simply connect the chat and OpenAI node with our supervisor. Of course, we need to give credentials. I just use n8n Flowise because I have already credentials. This is basically just our API key from OpenAI. Then we need to choose a model. I don't want to use GPT 4.5 preview because this is a little bit too expensive for me. I just want to have GPT-4 Omni. This works completely fine for me. Now we need to give these workers some names and also some prompts and maybe some tools. What I want to create is a research agent that can search, for example, about stock prices, and the second agent will basically make just a summary or something like this, and then we want to call via webhook n8n, and in n8n we will make a simple automation how we can store this data, for example, in Google Sheets. This is just so that you can understand how all of this is working. So you can basically make for yourself whatever you want. And if you want to build out prototype agents, I think Flowise is the fastest way to go, because here we can build a lot faster than in n8n. You see it, basically we have our whole structure. Now we just need to prompt. I want to call my first agent, for example, the research agent, and now we give our second agent a name. Let's just call it the Sheets agent. Now we need to write the prompts. So we make this big, and now we give our first worker a prompt. We will delete this standard prompt and use something like this. You are a research assistant who can search up-to-date info using the search engine. You have the tool SERP API and you search stock info and news. You pass your info always to the Sheets agent. So basically there we have it, and we press save. Now we need to connect our first tool, and in order to do that we simply press plus. We come down to tools, there they are. And what I want to use, you can also use the Brave Search API, a lot of other tools like the calculator, the code interpreter, the custom tool, we will take a closer look at this later, the Google custom search, the read file, the request get for HTTP GET requests, the HTTP POST request, a retriever tool, the search API, and what I like to use is right now the SERP API. So we simply throw in the SERP API and we connect the SERP API here with this tool. And what we need to do right now is to make new credentials if we do not have any. So I already have credentials, but let's just make new ones. We press on create credentials and we call it n8n course test, for example. And then we need to go to the SERP API. So you basically press on it. We sign in if we already have an account. Come to API keys. We can create either a new one or simply copy the key that I already have here. Then we come back to Flowise and we throw in my new SERP API key. So we simply insert it and we press add. Now we can search the SERP API for up-to-date information about stocks. And now we need the Sheets agent. I want to give the Sheets agent a prompt. You are a helpful assistant and extract this data from the research agent, stock ticker and stock price. Nothing else, just stock ticker and stock price. You have a custom tool named Create Sheet and use it every time to send a post request with stock ticker and stock price. So that's basically it. We want to extract this information from our first query. So the first query will give us also some information, and the second agent will simply extract stock ticker and stock price. And right now, of course, we need once again a tool, so we press plus, we come down to this tools once again, and we need to use the custom tool. We insert the custom tool, we throw it here on this tool agent, and now once again we need to give this a name, of course. Or actually, before we do this, before we will give the second custom tool, we should simply see if this thing is working or not. In order to make it work better, we should come to the supervisor, press add additional parameters, make it big, and here we give a little bit more information. You use the research agent to find the information, and afterward you send the results to the Sheets agent. You always use both workers. First research agent, then the Sheets agent. Then we save this. Now this is basically set up. We do not have any tools right now, but first we should test this thing out if this thing is working or not. Because if it doesn't work, it makes no sense to make this custom tool. So right now we are set, we press save here, we come here on the chat node, and we ask something like this, TSLA, news and price, for example. Now this agent should at least in theory work. The supervisor triggers our research agent. The research agent will go on and search the web. As soon as we have the information from the web, hopefully we will get the information back. There we are. The research agent basically did a lot of searches. Let's just wait and see. So there we are. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 web searches. And we also have the stock price. So the current price is this price right here. The previous close is this, then the exchange is from the Nasdaq. Then we have all the latest news also with links included. Then our supervisor goes on and triggers our Sheets agent, and the Sheets agent simply gives us here stock ticker TSLA, and the stock price is this thing right here, and then basically we are done. And then lastly, the supervisor tells us that everything worked great. So we have the stock ticker is Tesla, the stock price is this thing right here, and we have also our news. So I think this is working great. By the way, you can also use another tool, or maybe you can connect this tool that you get the news stored on your local disk or whatever, but I want to make this quick and easy. I just want that you know how to use webhooks with n8n. This is the most important thing here. So basically our agent is working. Now we need, of course, our custom tool. So once again we press plus. Now we come to the custom tool because we see that this thing is working. So we simply throw in this custom tool. And now we give this custom tool, of course, also the name. So we connect it first. We make it big here, create new. We give it the name Create Sheets. The description, use this tool to create Google Sheets. We do not want to have any icon here, but what's important for us is the input schema because we want to have this in clear data. And here on input schema, you see we have property, type, description, and if it's required or not. So we simply press add item, and the first item on property, we can simply type in what we want to have. Like for example, stock ticker. Then the type, what's the type here? It's of course a string. The description, let's just say stock ticker. Once again, you can write this big or small, however you want. And this field should be of course a required field. Then once again, add item. What we want to have right now is the price, of course. Then the type of the price is of course not necessarily a string, but a number. And the description is once again price. And also this should be a required field. And what's important right now is this JavaScript function. You can simply scroll down and you can press on see example. And there you have your whole example. You can use any libraries imported in Flowise. You can use properties specialized in input schema as variables. You can get default flow config. You can get custom variables, and important, must return a string value at the end of the function. And here you also have this custom code. And basically we can simply use this code and just change a few things. This code is nearly fine for us. What we need to change is, of course, the URL. We need to use the URL that we get from n8n, and we will do this right now. And the method is, of course, also not get, but post. And if you are not a coder, like, don't worry. You can also simply copy all of this, throw it into ChatGPT, and describe ChatGPT exactly what you want to have. Basically, let's just do this so that we do not have to code ourselves. So what we want to do is to simply copy all of this code. Now we come into ChatGPT, and in ChatGPT we type in something like this: to edit this code. Then we throw in the code, of course, and then we tell ChatGPT our goal. My goal is to make a post request. I want to send two values, stock ticker and price. And now you can simply send this out and ChatGPT will give you the right code. So basically here is your code modified and so on with stock ticker and stock price. Here we open up Canvas automatically. This is right now not that important for you. This also works without Canvas. You can simply use ChatGPT or whatever LLM you want to use. And there we have it. By the way, every line that is green will not get executed. So you see the stuff from previous that is just for description is also included. And here you also see this, the URL. Here ChatGPT tells you replace with your API endpoint, but I think this should normally work. So what we do right now is to simply copy all of this code. We delete this code and throw in our new code. And right now we need, of course, our URL so that we can work with this thing. So let's just get this URL, and for that we need to come into n8n. Right now we are in n8n, we press create new workflow, and we press plus here, and what we want to have, of course, is the on webhook call, because we want to have a HTTP request. For the purpose of this tutorial, we leave it as the test URL, but if you want to go into the production, you need to use the production URL later, but let's just leave it as the test URL. The HTTP method is right now post and not get. The path is fine. The authentication is at none. We do not want to have any authentication. We simply want to accept the data that comes through. And the response should be, of course, immediately, so that this thing is fast. So let's just use our test URL. We simply copy this test URL. Then we come back into Flowise. We want to delete this URL right now. But remember to do not delete anything else. We include our new URL. And then we are basically done here. What we want to do right now is to simply press add, because right now we are connected. We press save. Then we come back into n8n. We simply press listen for a test event. I simply want to see if our data comes through. Then we come back into Flowise and we do, like, once again, come on, this should be easy. Tesla news and price. We simply send this out once again. And then our agent should go on and simply search once again for all the news and the prices about Tesla. The second agent will extract our values and send these values with our custom tool. Let's just see if this is working. And as soon as this gets sent, we will trigger n8n, of course. And we got this thing here back. Our supervisor at the end tells us that it used 1, 2, 3, 4 times the search engine and 1 time the create sheets agent. So this seems to work. If we come also here up a little bit. So first the research agent gives us all this research. Then the supervisor triggers once again the sheets agent. The sheets agent uses the custom tool, the create sheets agent, and the supervisor tells us that everything worked. Now let's just come back into n8n and see if we got the data, and there we have the data. So the data is basically included here. We have everything here that we need in order to work. So our webhook works. This is how you can connect, by the way, any webhook. You can simply use this webhook node, then you go on test URL or production URL. As soon as you want to have this active, you need to use the production URL. So you would go into Flowise or for wherever you want to call this. And here on this code, of course, let's just see, you need to include then the production URL, and then you can call this without pressing fetch test event or test workflow or whatever. What we want to do right now is of course to work with this webhook data that we get here. Before we include Google Sheets, let's just actually see, I have sent it once again an event, if we have on schema everything that we need. If we scroll down, you see we have in the body the stock ticker and the stock price. And also let's just actually check if this is correct. 293.04, 292.98. So I think this is correct. I think this is just marginal, so these are just a few cents. This is most likely just because of the fluctuation of the closing price. Actually, if we Google TSLA, here on the Nasdaq we have exactly this price, 293.04. We use of course the Google search and not TradingView, so basically we are correct by the cent. So now let's just use here Google Sheets, we press plus. Of course we use Google Sheets once again. Google, let's just say Sheets. We use of course append row in a sheet. Now we need to connect our Google Sheets account, of course. The resource sheet within a document. The operation is append row, and then we need to choose from the list. So you need to choose a document and also the sheets. So let's just do this. I just want to use this sheet. It's called n8n Test. Yes, this is here in German, but you can also make this however you want. And I have included stock ticker and price because here I want to include the stock ticker and the price. Then we come back to n8n, of course. Then we chose from list. It's basically n8n Test, so this thing right here. Then we use from list. It's the first page. We want to map everything manually, and here you see the values to send, the stock ticker and the price. This is just because I have written this stock ticker and price. And now we need to map this. So if you scroll down, the stock ticker is of course this thing down here. We use these variables. Then we use the price as variable, so we include also the price here. There we are included. Now we can simply press that step, and now we should write the stock ticker TSLA and the price of this right here into our Google Sheets, and boom, there we have it. So what we want to do right now is of course to test this workflow. Right now we should basically wait for a trigger event, then we come back into Flowise, we use our chat here, and let's just say Meta, or actually Apple, price and ticker. I do not want to have any news, because we simply want to test this as fast as possible. The supervisor triggers the research agent. It should basically find out that the Apple ticker is not Apple, but actually AAPL. There you see it. And the price is, let's just see, 241.4. And we also used the create sheets. So let's just see the stock ticker AAPL 241.4. And there we are. The price is 241.4. And the ticker is of course AAPL. If we come back into n8n, you see that this thing worked here. And if we come into our Google Sheets, boom, there we have it. AAPL 241.4. Let's just make another test. This time we do it different. We want to send this workflow from inactive to active, so that this thing always works in the background. We can control it here on executions. Then I come back into Flowise, and I simply want to tell Amazon ticker and price. We send it out. I also have a typo, but don't worry. Research agent gets triggered. It's of course AMSN. And here's the price. Then the create sheets got triggered. Let's just see in Google Sheets. And it does not work. And I hope you understand why it doesn't work. Please remember, come back into editor, go onto Webhooks. This time we use of course the production URL, because this thing is public. So if you want to send this public, you need to remember you need to use the public URL. So you copy the public URL, then you send it to active, got it, Flowise. We come into our custom tool, we go into this code snippet, we need to delete the old URL, include the new one, press save. And right now we need to ask the same question once again. So right now it's active. In Google Sheet nothing happened, but we come back right now. Amazon ticker and price. Once again with a typo, I send it out. Research agent gets triggered. We have our info. The Sheets agent gets triggered. Now this thing is executed. we come into our Google Sheets and boom, there we have it, everything is connected. And by the way, if you want to make this workflow more useful, we would do something like this. News, summary, for example. So there we have it. Right now we press save. Then we would come back here, of course. We need to add another item. The next item is, this time, summary. It's of course a string. Summary of news. We press save. What we want to do right now is to come back here on the editor. We send it to inactive once again. We need to come to our test URL because we want to test this out. Then I copy these. We come back to Flowise. Once again, back on this custom tool. We insert this URL also once again. And what we want to do right now is, of course, to also send out the summary. So I simply copy once again this code. This code is working for me, but I want to add another value. It's the summary. Then we include our code and send this out. We will get our new code where also the summary is included. So we copy the code. We come back into Flowise. We delete this old code, include the new one, press save. We come back into n8n, listen for test event. Make sure to also use here the test URL, by the way. And right now let's just extract, for example, NVIDIA News. NVIDIA News, stock price and ticker. Research agent gets triggered from the supervisor. The agent will search the web via the SERP API. And you see everything got triggered, so 6 times the search and also the create sheet event. I also had to fix my typos once again here and make sure to use the right URL. Now let's just come into n8n and see if this thing comes through. Right now you see this thing came through. Right now you see we have the stock ticker, the price and the summary. And this is basically the most important thing right here. So we can make this workflow a little bit bigger and a little bit better. So we would basically come into this sheet here. And here we would also, let's just delete this old data. Here we would also add, for example, the summary. And now we come back into n8n, of course, we come into Google Sheets. We want to add manually. Here we have right now also the summary. And what we do is to throw in also the summary. So right now we would have something that would make sense. This would be relatively cool. So if you press test workflow once again, and let's just see, let's just say meta, news and price, for example, then you have every single thing included in Google Sheets. So our supervisor triggers our research agent. The research agent will go on, search the web for all the newest information about Meta in this example. There we have all this information. Then the supervisor goes on and triggers our Sheets agent once again. The Sheets agent will make the summary, and as soon as it has the summary, it will also write here everything in our Google Sheet. So let's just come into our Google Sheet. Right now you see Meta, the stock price, and here's the summary, Meta platforms, the best money, and so on. Here you see basically the whole summary that you need to have here. So basically you are up to date really fast with this thing. You can simply come back to Flowise, type in what you want, and you will get added everything in Google Sheets really fast. And remember, if you want to have this active all the time, go from inactive to active, but then you need to copy this production URL so that you can always have this working for you. So in this video you have learned a lot. You have learned how you can use Flowise to build AI agents. Flowise is cool because with Flowise you can make something really fast. But the most important thing, at least how I see it, was in this video that you understand how powerful webhooks are. With webhooks we can control n8n from everywhere, from other apps. You can also include normal webhooks and crawl, for example, different web pages and do really a lot. The webhook node is powerful, so maybe you should use it. And remember, yes, you maybe need some code from time to time, but just ask ChatGPT, it will be really easy. See you of course in the next one.